Andrew Ross Sorkin of CNBC and the New York Times reporting that co-CEO Gary Friedman stepped down from the company after an internal investigation found he had a, quote, inappropriate relationship with a 26-year-old female employee. That employee has now left the company. She reportedly told investigators the relationship was consensual, and neither Friedman nor the employee are married. The leadership change comes at a critical time for Restoration as it prepares for its IPO. The company has no comment on the story. Sue?
All right, Ty, go get a cup of coffee because it's time for the ladies in the group to talk about this particular story. Joining me to do that is my colleague Kayla Tausche and CNBC contributors Stacey Whitlett and Ashley Lutz with Business Insider. Welcome to Power Lunch, ladies. Let's get right to it. Ty kind of set it up for us. Neither of these two individuals are married. And in addition to that, the person who brought this to the board's attention was the woman's ex-boyfriend who has a criminal record. Kayla, what do you make of this?
I think the board did the right thing, Sue. I think they were faced with a tough decision. The fact that the boyfriend was willing to take it outside meant that the potential press damage ahead of an IPO could have been huge. That being said, I don't think there's cause to worry for potential shareholders because of the Mark Hurd smell test. We all remember the former CEO of HP, right. Two big factors against him. His challenge was that there were allegations of sexual harassment, so the relationship wasn't consensual. It also wasn't a relationship. It was an affair. He was married. So if it's consensual and you're both single, let two people have their fun.
Stacey, do you agree? Because, I mean, there's no indication that she was a direct report to him. In addition to that, a lot of people meet their future spouses at work because we're all working so much more than we ever were before, and neither one of them was married at the time.
I would agree, Sue. I mean, this is a totally different situation than when we saw recently with Best Buy, Brian Dunn. The two of them are not married. They're single. It's consensual. You know, clearly we spend 12 to 14 hours a day in the office now. So that is, as you just said, where you tend to meet the people that you date and marry. But I think boards are under a lot of pressure. You know, we just saw the Best Buy example, but I think the example is a bit different. With Best Buy, Brian Dunn, you know, was asking vendors for free tickets. With HP, it was expense report issues. So this is a different situation.
You know, Ashley, though, I mean, the company gave us a no comment, but they're still technically privately held, so they really are under no responsibility to give us a comment. Did they make the right move, do you think? And we should note that they did bring in Weil Gotshal to do an investigation because they were worried about the ex-boyfriend's criminal record and what his motives were.
Well, this is actually
Can I get Ashley on that?
Go ahead.
Yeah, this is actually a huge loss to Restoration Hardware. You know, Gary Friedman came in and essentially took the company from bankruptcy to a $1 billion IPO. So there is kind of a sense that we don't know the whole story because it does seem very extreme. Sure, it doesn't look good on first glance, but, you know, when you look at it, he is divorced. She has since left the company, and so there's kind of questions of whether it was worth doing this before an IPO. But we're seeing zero tolerance from boards with this sort of behavior.
But Sue, I think that it's also interesting that they're letting him be so involved on a day-to-day basis in the company.
Yes.
That shows the board's willingness to say, hey, we know that the optics of this isn't good and we're willing to act from a corporate governance perspective, but it's so important that he stay involved, that he still have a hand in the creative directorship of the company. They're letting him run this company that will run alongside Restoration Hardware. He's still one of the biggest shareholders. He still means a lot to them.
Yeah, Kayla, you read my mind because I was going to say he's actually not technically completely leaving the company. He's going to be consulting. He will be active, but they couldn't leave him on the board. Stacey, I think Kayla brings up the key point, the optics of this before an IPO. Does this tarnish the IPO? Does it enhance the IPO because they took decisive action?
You know, I think it does. I think the board did the right thing. Something was brought to their attention that might be inappropriate. They called in the legal team and said, what should we do? We're pre-IPO. We want to handle this right. We want to send the correct message to shareholders that they're responsible and also to employees that there's no favoritism in the company. So I think that was the right way to handle it. And again, there will still be a relationship with the former CEO. He's the face of the company. He's in the catalog. He's going to remain in the catalog. So there's still a relationship there. But I think from a PR standpoint, they had no other choice.
Yeah, Kayla, do you think it affects the pricing on the IPO or not?
I really don't, and I think actually they'll probably get a better price on the IPO because investors will be assuaged by the fact that Gary will still be involved. They want to see that face at the company, and I think that they now have a lot of faith in the board.
Hey, Ashley, would it have made a difference, do you think, if it was a female CEO and a male worker or not?
You know, I don't think so. I think that, boards have zero tolerance for this these days, and they're saying it doesn't look good. So, no, I don't think it would have made a difference.
A cautionary tale, then, for CEOs and coworkers alike, correct?
Oh, definitely.
All right, ladies, thank you very much.